What's going on YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we're going to wrap up our ACC predictions. Going to go over all the teams that we did not cover earlier in the week, starting with Boston College here. You can see we've missed 2 games. We missed Wake Forest and Louisville. So overall record, we're still correct on Boston College so far. Just got those games switched around. So if you look ahead to the second half of the season, I had them upsetting NC State. I had them getting that big upset. I've still got them winning that game for now. Maybe, I feel like this team's going to upset somebody. Maybe that Louisville game was their upset. Maybe they don't beat NC State. But I don't know. You just look at, coming off a bye week, maybe they find a way to get that one done. NC State maybe coming off a big win over Clemson. So, yeah, we're going to stick with that for now. We'll see. When it comes to that game week, I may change my mind. Okay, Duke. We've missed 3 games. I had them losing to Northwestern, Baylor, and North Carolina. They win all 3 of these games. You were looking at this team at 4-0 thinking, hey, this may be a serious contender there in the Coastal Division, and then they drop 3 in a row: Miami, Virginia, Florida State. So you look ahead to the second half of the schedule. I had them, finishing out 2-3. We're going to change that to 3-2. We are now going to give them a win over. Oh, I changed my mind actually. We're going to say 2-3 still, but we're going to switch the win from Georgia Tech to Pitt. So I have them beating Pitt, and now I have them losing to Georgia Tech. So yeah, we switched those around, but same overall record there in the second half of the season. So now let's go ahead and talk about that Georgia Tech team. Let's see, we had them. We're still perfect for this team. They haven't played UCF. I still left that as a green there, but they didn't play, so don't know if they would have won that game or not. That would have been a good game. It's a shame we didn't get to see it. But I had them losing to Tennessee and Miami, beating Pitt and North Carolina. That is how things have played out so far. You look ahead now to the second half of the season. Are we going to make any changes? Well, you already know I'm going to give them a win over Duke because we just talked about that game. And that's the only change we're going to make. I still have them losing on the road at Clemson and losing to Georgia. Got them on the road at Virginia. That's going to be a tough game. I don't know if they pull that one off or not. And also Virginia Tech. They get them at home. That's going to be a tough game. So Georgia Tech, their season could go either way. I could see them finishing 8-4 or possibly 6-6, maybe even 5-7. We'll see how they play down the stretch. Next team is Pitt. We had them beating Syracuse. They lost that game, so that's the only game we've missed so far. I had them beating Youngstown State and Rice. Those are their only 2 wins of the season. I didn't expect them to beat Penn State, Oklahoma State, Georgia Tech, or NC State. So you're looking out ahead to the second half of the season. We just talked about Duke, so you know that I've got Duke winning that game. Let's see. Are we going to make any other changes on Pitt? We are also going to give them a loss to Virginia. So, yeah, I've got them losing both of those games now. I do still have them beating North Carolina. So, what are we looking at? 3-9 for Pitt. Yeah, it's been a rough season for them. I in preseason thought it was going to be a rough season. Maybe not quite this bad, but they're ready to move on to the next season already there at Pitt. Next team, Syracuse, the team that just pulled off that big upset over Clemson. We had them beating Middle Tennessee State. They actually lost that game. Had them losing to Pitt. They won that game. Losing to Clemson. They won that game. So we've done a pretty bad job on Syracuse, but overall we're just off 1 game. You look ahead now to the second half of the season. Those are 3 tough road games. Miami, Florida State, and Louisville. Yeah, those all 3 are going to be tough. They do get Wake Forest and Boston College at home, so I've got them winning those games. And I'm going to keep it just like I had it in the preseason here in the second half of the season. I think they win those games. I think they're going to be good games, but I think they find a way to get them done at home. And maybe they can beat Louisville. Louisville has not looked good, so I wouldn't be shocked if Syracuse was able to win that game. Don't really see them being Miami or Florida State, but you never really know. We'll see. They did it against Clemson, so we shall see. Moving on now to North Carolina. Oh, it has been a rough season for this team. Had them beating Cal, Duke, and Virginia. They lost all 3 of those games. So we're sitting here with just 1 win for the North Carolina Tar Heels. It's been a bad. This is another team. I told you Pitt, North Carolina were going to be down this year, but I just didn't expect it to be this bad. So you look ahead now to the second half of the season. We're actually going to give them a loss to Miami as well. I really don't even know why I picked that one to begin with, but we do still have them beating Western Carolina, but other than that, it's all losses here for North Carolina in the second half of the season. And I just don't see them, that Pitt game is going to be a 50-50 game. Maybe they can find a way to win that one. But other than that, I don't see any wins here besides Western Carolina. Okay, now next team is Virginia. We've missed 2 games. They're doing a lot better than I thought they would. I had them losing to Boise State and North Carolina, both games on the road. They found a way to win both of those games. I did have them beating Duke and UConn. I had them losing to Indiana, which they did. And then obviously William & Mary, an easy win there. So second half of the season, what do we have now for Virginia? We had them losing their last 5 games, but now we've got them beating Pitt and Georgia Tech. So at that point in the season, if this actually happens, you're going to be looking at what, a 8-1 team? Yeah, they could be 8-1. But then I do have them falling apart down the stretch, losing on the road at Louisville and on the road at Miami, and also at home against Virginia Tech. But they could be a Cinderella story if they can keep it going. We'll see. Wake Forest is next, and we've only missed 1 game for this team. We had them losing to Boston College. They actually won that game. They had a chance to beat Florida State, just couldn't quite get it done. So I only missed 1 game here in the first half of the season, and because it was on the road, I guess is maybe why I leaned towards Boston College in that game. Looking ahead at the second half of the season, it's a tough schedule. These next 5 games are going to be very tough for this team. So we're not going to make any changes. I've still got them losing on the road at Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, and Syracuse, and at home to Louisville and NC State. I think they have a chance to maybe pull off an upset against Louisville or an NC State. The Louisville game may not even be an upset the way they're playing. But maybe NC State, maybe they pull off that upset in the last week of the season. I do have them beating Duke to finish things out. So I think this is a pretty good Wake Forest team, just a tough schedule, very tough ACC schedule for them, and Notre Dame in there as well. Here are the standings based off my predictions. I've got NC State winning the Atlantic at 7-1. Clemson, because of that loss to Syracuse and then a loss to NC State, comes in at number 2. Florida State bounces back to get to number 3. Louisville, Syracuse tied at 4-4. Wake Forest at 2-6, and Boston College at 2-6. So we got every team here getting to a bowl game except for Wake Forest and Boston College. They'll need to get 1 more win to get there. In the Coastal Division, this is a pretty bad division. Duke and Virginia have been surprises there, so that's the bright spot. Miami, I still have one in the Coastal. Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech, a close race for 2nd. Virginia and Duke, I think, will be in a close race for 4th. I've actually got Virginia at 5-3, though. Pitt 1-7, North Carolina 0-8. I do not have them winning a conference game, and I feel very confident that either Pitt or North Carolina will be winless in the conference. Whoever loses that game head-to-head. So in the preseason, I had Florida State versus Miami in the ACC Championship in a rematch because I had Clemson losing, I think, 2 or 3 games, or maybe just 2 conference games. So that is what we had in the preseason. It doesn't look like Florida State really has any chance here in their division. I mean, I don't guess they're completely out of it, but it's very unlikely that they win that division. I had Miami as the ACC champion. I thought that, a young team on offense would come together by the end of the season with that good defense, and I didn't think Florida State could beat them twice. Well, that was if they played Florida State. What happens now when we put them against another team in the ACC Championship? Because that's what we're going to have. So you look here at our preseason picks. You can put an X over Florida State. Florida State not going to get there, at least in my mind. So the new ACC Championship game that we're going to look at is NC State and Miami, which could be a very interesting matchup, a game that I could really see going either way. But who do I have winning it? And I think Clemson still has a real chance to get there. Maybe we have Clemson and Miami in this game. I do think Miami is going to win their division. Virginia Tech has a chance, but Miami gets them at home, so I think they do get there. So NC State versus Miami in a very good ACC Championship game. I've got Miami winning it. So we're going to stick with our original prediction. We had Miami winning the ACC to begin with, and we're still going to put them in there. And again, like I said preseason, it's just the schedule is so soft for this team. All they really have to do is beat Virginia Tech at home, especially after they beat Florida State. The injury to Francois, I think, definitely changed that game. I don't think they would have won if he had been there. So they can afford the loss to Notre Dame, no big deal. They'll still just keep riding along to the ACC Championship game. And that's how I see it happening. I see them as a one-loss ACC champion, so probably going to get in the playoffs, but we'll see. Pretty weak schedule, so that could hurt them. But if they do get in, it's all because of the schedule. I don't think Miami is one of the best 4 teams in the country, but just based off their schedule and the way they found ways to win games, I think more than likely they do get in the playoffs. But I'll cover all that at the end of the day when we do our playoff predictions. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. We're here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.